how is that one truck to two truck?
They bought their first truck, they get in business, and then they get that second one, and it's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
How many trucks do you think one person can manage?
You don't have to accept any quotes because you're already on our mowing service. We just shift you right into winter services. The way that
Okay.
we're doing it, you don't ever have, they don't have to accept anything. We just tell them that you're automatically opted in. This is the checklist. Like when our crews show up to the property, this is the checklist that they go through. Those are the three pain points for most
Mhm.
customers. I think the fertilization and weed control is an easy upsell. You can make 40% profits on it, and it's year round. All right. So, Kevin, let us know like where you're at in business. And
Yeah.
yeah, obviously you got a list of questions. So what can I help you out with?
Sounds good. So I'm Kevin, Green Empire Lawn Care. I am entering my third year in business now. Well, my third full year in business. I don't count my first part-time try it out year. But I just entered my third full year in business. We just did $150,000 last year in revenue. The year prior was 120. The year prior was two people. I wasn't quite ready for a second truck. So I was like, you know what? If I can grow, I can take on more customers maybe if I add a third person. So I added my third crew member. And this year I'm going to start up a new truck. So I'm kind of like looking at how is that one truck to two truck bridge? How was that whenever you were getting your second truck? Did it change anything? Because I'm still going to be in the field while another truck is going out working. How did that go for you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are going from like they bought their first truck, they get in business, and then they get that second one, and it's kind of
Yeah.
scary, right? Because not
Oh
there
yeah.
all the time. But I'll actually tell you, I think that's one of the best transitions
Mhm.
is when you go from one truck to two truck, because when you have only one truck and it's you and another guy and you have like full routes because it's spring rush and it's super
Yep.
busy, if that guy doesn't show up and now it's just you, like there's no way that you're going to be able to carry his workload like for multiple days. So
Mhm.
when you get that second truck, it kind of evens the playing field now that you are eligible to get four workers, including you. Well, you would be included in this, but
Mhm.
four workers now out in the field. And so you can start to kind of evenly disperse your workload and not be so like for me, like we're all about reliability. And like we tell the customers, like if we can't get there, we'll get to you the next day, make your priority. And if I got a guy who calls out like 3 days in a row and I'm only running one truck, like it's gonna shoot a
Yeah.
whole week, you know? So I actually like that a lot. I think it gets actually easier. Obviously, the
Mhm.
challenging part is like how do you manage people when you're not there? And
Mhm.
just really, I mean, obviously you can see what routes they're on, the customers they're on, as long as you're using a CRM. And so when complaints start to come down the pipe, it's just, make sure that you're really on top of them. Hey,
Mhm.
like why did we forget to close this gate, guys? Come on, like this is simple stuff. We need this closed, and just being really diligent about any kind of complaints that come down the pipe.
I'm not sure if you probably didn't recognize, but I'm in the CoPilot beta, or I'm in the CoPilot group since the first week that they launched. So I don't know
Nice.
if you saw my name in there or not, but
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
I've
Let's go.
I've I've been in there since they launched, so
That's
that's
awesome.
definitely hopefully gonna work out really well. Yeah, so my vision is I'm not quite sure yet what I want to do. I know, so I came up with Green Empire, green like industry, and then Empire meaning just want to create a big business, right? Basically, not sure yet if I want to go one larger business or go for a bunch of smaller businesses. I'm looking at probably the bunch of smaller businesses. What do you think is the sweet spot as far as branching out to like another like location?
Um, when you say sweet spot, like what
Mhm.
define sweet spot? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like like so you have ended up with one general manager, four trucks at X amount of revenue, six trucks. How many trucks do you think one person can manage?
Gotcha. Okay, so typically a good manager can manage up to 8 people. An exceptional manager, I believe, can manage up to 10 people.
Mhm.
Once you get up to that 10 mark, it's pretty hectic. They're pretty busy. I would say an average manager should be able to manage 4 people. That's
Okay.
fairly simple. And I'd say like if you're asking when the point is that you start to look at other opportunities of that nature, of like maybe branching off to a second location or building just one big conglomerate, what I would recommend is to you got to make sure that your existing business is profitable and at like a certain
Mhm.
benchmark. So for example, for us, I believe once you get to like 500,000,
Mhm.
that's when you can really maybe flip that profit mode on and then make sure that you're pulling enough money out of the business to go and start a second location or to go and expand in growth. But you just want to you want to make sure that your little prototype business, the first one, is actually
Yeah.
profitable instead of like you don't want to just go and open up a second location because that's just like the next step. It's like we got to make sure like this business runs smoothly. We got our systems in place and have a good foundation before we go and do and copy and paste.
Gotcha. And since we're on the profitable topic, so I switched over to I've heard of this profit first system. I have a bookkeeper and she was telling I was like asking her like, when the winter time comes, like my money starts my I start dipping into my savings and stuff. So I was asking her like, what do you see in here that, I can kind of cut out to try and help prevent from dipping far into my savings. And she goes, you paid over about $1,200 just in maintenance bank fees at our local branch. She suggested like an online bank with zero maintenance fees, no account balances. And that's whenever I found the Profit First system. So I got Relay. What's your thoughts on, because I've heard like people, their accounts were getting like shut down or whatever or frozen. So that's in the back of my mind. Do you think something like that you should probably be worried about?
Oh, with the online banking. Um,
Yeah.
wait, when you say like bank management fees, are you talking about just like a brick and mortar bank like locally to you? Like
Yep. Yep. Maintenance. Yeah. Just maintenance fees.
who okay. So we bank with Chase. Obviously
Hmm.
they have like the online banking portion. You can also go into brick and mortar. Chase has a great if you have a local Chase near you, they have a great like business structure
Hmm.
for businesses. But yeah, I mean, we use online banking. I think a lot of people use online banking now. I mean, we haven't really had any issues with it. And if there is like a discrepancy or something, they're backed up enough to where they'll, fix it or return the money if, something
Hmm.
happens of that
So you
nature.
think relays? Yeah. So you probably shouldn't be worrying about them randomly freezing your accounts for whatever reason.
Yeah, unless like they sometimes they have like minimum payments or like minimum dollars that need to be in the account. Obviously with me being a veteran, all of that stuff's like waived. So like we could have
Hmm.
like $1 in the account, but some of them like require you to have $200 or $250. Sometimes there are instances, not really with the business account because we do stay pretty local, but like with our personal account, yeah, sometimes it does get frozen if I try to make a payment, for the first time or something on a new card, and it's a pretty big, you know,
Oh
uh,
gosh, yeah.
dollar amount. But all of that is to secure your money. And
Hmm.
so, and to keep it safe, which I'm sure is what you want, so
Oh yeah.
a little bit of hoops that you may have to jump through on the first time a transaction occurs. Like I'm okay with that because ideally that's in place to secure your finances and stuff. So
I've missed a bunch of leads because I'm so maxed out. Like I think inside the CoPilot, it captured like up to 60 work request forms I just couldn't even get to. Basically, the question for this at my stage, would you recommend passing off like overflow to a virtual office? Do you think that can like the cost to that would benefit a business of my size?
I do think that's a
Hmm.
good alternative. And really just any ones that maybe you miss, or you can say, hey, look, log in if they've been in here for more than 24 hours, like I want you guys to handle them. What's cool about that is you really are only paying for them to actually work on them. You're not
Okay.
paying an office person in your office for 40 hours a week and like having to constantly like give them tasks to keep busy. So yeah, I think that's a great alternative for someone your size in that 100 to
Hmm.
300,000 mark that gets very busy because you guys are very hands-on. I think that's a great alternative.
Since winter, I'm in North Carolina, so it doesn't snow over here, and we don't mow year round. So basically, we're just pretty much left with doing cleanups. So every day is not full, like at all. My thought is because I feel like I need to take the seasonal out, can't say it, the seasonality out of the business for the January and February mark. Throughout the spring, summer, and fall, try and fill out January and February with like gutter cleaning jobs since we're already on the properties. What's your thoughts on doing that?
I think that's an option, and I think you
Mhm.
should test the market. You know, obviously you may have leads inside of CoPilot. Just send them an email. Hey, who would like a quote for or a service for gutter cleaning? See how many
Mhm.
bite back. If you send out 1,000 emails and you don't get it, you get less than 5 bites on it, may not be a great service to, invest a ton of your
Mhm.
time in. Do you do winter services at this time?
Winter services, I mean, as far as I know, winter services, I guess, is property cleanups. Like, what else would you do for like winter services?
So I'll explain kind of what we do because you're basically in the same region as us.
Hmm.
We're just more west from you.
Okay.
'Cause I was in Fort Bragg for a while, so I know
Oh,
exactly.
really nice. Okay, I'm up in Fuquay. So that's
Yeah,
probably like an hour, maybe an hour north.
yeah, yeah. So I'm very familiar with like your climate out there. So this is basically what we do, and it's worked out really well. This is the second year that we're doing it. So you basically have your mowing customers, whether they're weekly or bi-weekly, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Once the season ends, which is typically somewhere around November, right?
Hmm.
Mid-November, the grass kind of stops growing. What we do is we shift all of our customers over that are on our mowing service to bi-weekly winter services. We send one email out. We say, hey, you're on our mowing service. Just to let you know, in the months of December, January, and February, we come out every other week and we perform winter services on your property. This is what it includes. If you don't want it, just respond back with opt out and we'll remove you from the schedule and we'll pick back up March 1st for the spring. We retain probably about 70% of our mowing customers. 70. So
Wow,
on a
that's a big deal.
bi-weekly rotation. So here's how it works. So we basically perform 5 services on the property. So you and I both know what comes after the mowing season when it's finished.
Leaves straight up.
Leaf cleanup. So literally for the next 2 months, if it's heavily dense forest area, we're picking up leaves all the time. So what we do, we tell the customers that's going to be our first focus is leaves. We're going to pick up the leaves. After we pick up all the leaves, which may take a month or two, because
Hmm.
the way that we structure it is we basically same state or we perform the same amount of time on your property that we do for the mow. So
Okay.
if it's a 30-minute mow weedy edge blow, 30 minutes, and we charge $45, we're going to charge you $45 to pick up the leaves for your winter service, and we're only going to spend 30 minutes there. Now that means we may not even get to your backyard. And
Okay, that was gonna be my question. Yeah.
yeah, and that's okay. Just know we're going to be back in 2 weeks to pick up where we left off. And we're just going to be here every other week. And we're going to try to clean your property up all throughout the winter. You don't have to accept any quotes because you're already on our mowing service. We just shift you right into winter services. We don't have to really adjust our schedule too much. And that's basically how it is. So we start off with leaf cleanup. Then once that's done for the full property, sometimes the guys will pull up and they'll be like, oh, there's no leaves. Well, they got to get out of the truck and walk to the backyard. They got to do their walk around.
Mhm.
Okay, because there might be piles of leaves in the backyard. After that, then we focus on trimming bushes. So we go through trim bushes front and back. Again, 45 minutes only if there's tons of flower beds and we can only get to these 2 flower beds first and the other 6 need to get done on a different visit, then that's okay. The third one is going to be pulling weeds and grass in the flower beds. And then the fourth one, we call it a monthly mow. But yeah, we do a monthly mow as well. And then the fifth one, which is really more for us, we don't do a ton of tree trimming because we don't like chainsaws and all that big stuff, but we just do very, very light tree pruning. And I'm talking about
Okay.
the trees near the street that our guys
Yeah.
get poked with when they're mowing.
Oh
This is
yeah. Yeah.
so
Cookie
annoying.
cutter trees.
Yeah. And so we literally, and it's just a handsaw, and we tell them up to 3-inch diameter. And so those are the 5 things that we focus on during winter service. If we get to your property and we cleaned up all the leaves or you don't have any trees, the bushes look good, the beds look good, we'll literally just skip you and you're not billed.
Is there a way you can, I know this is a little bit tricky. Is there a way you can probably add like maybe mulch to a winter service? So like trying to think if they're like, because these cookie cutter lawns only take probably about a yard and a half to 2 yards of mulch from what I've seen, which I mean costs for me like $50. So maybe if you were to do that for like 1 month at whatever the monthly price would be.
So you could do that. So like if you do that, there is material cost, right? So
Yeah.
like for
Hmm.
me, I would have to go out and requote the job.
Hmm.
But now you go through the whole barrier of you sending the estimate to the customer that they maybe
Okay.
want it or maybe they don't, and then they accept it and then they don't. And so like your close ratio is going to go way down, number one, because it's mulch in the winter anyway. A lot of people aren't thinking about mulch in the winter. And so you just get to that barrier where you have to resend the estimate. The way that
Okay.
we're doing it, they don't have to accept anything. We just tell them that you're automatically opted in.
Mhm.
If you want to opt out, just opt out. Now, what you could do is instead of you showing, because you would ideally show up twice in that month, you could
Uh-huh.
word it somehow, some way that like, hey, we're going to come and do mulch. The first visit is going to cover the material, so you don't have to accept or do anything. And then the second visit is going to be the actual labor of the install. So theoretically
Gotcha.
speaking, you're only coming out one time in the month of, let's say, December, but you're going to get charged for both visits, one for the labor to install the mulch, the other for but like, do you see how it gets a little complicated to have to
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna keep
explain?
that as a one time
Yeah.
bill charge, whatever. Yeah, it is a little complicated. That might work with the gutters, maybe potentially.
Yeah,
Um,
and you can add that as a sixth service, right? In your winter service, like, hey, this is the checklist. Like when our crews show up to the property, this is the checklist that they go through. They'll spend 30 minutes on your property. You're gonna get billed your same mowing price,
mhm.
and this is the checklist. So you could just add gutters on the bottom of that
Yeah.
if you want, and just use that as an add-on.
Thing that I saw like gutter vacs out in Sanford. There's a Skyvac dealer, and basically it's an industrial vacuum with carbon fiber piping up to it's about 40 foot. You go up about 40 foot with it, and there's also a camera so you can actually see what you're doing, so people don't even have to get on the roofs. So I was like, that's pretty neat. That might be in the wintertime, everything's down. Cool. Well, I really like that. I definitely see how that winter services will be beneficial. So I have 2 years of pest control experience. I was in lawn landscaping before pest control, and it was better paying job at the time. So I got into that and then decided to start my own business. But thinking about getting experience in the whatchamacallit, the weed control and fertilization is definitely a needed service in here. The only people around are True Green. There's one called Eastern Turf Maintenance, True Green, Eastern Turf Maintenance, and I think Weed Man. I think that's it. And people ask me all the time if I do weed control. And I tell them it's in the process. Like I have to get licensed through the state and all first. So how do you think that will play an effect in my business? I'm currently thinking about when I do get licensed in that, just taking 5 or 6 customers and be like, hey, you guys are the practice. And here's a discounted rate. I have one person who already wants to do that when he asked me about it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. I completely support it. So we're building a
Yeah.
model right now that includes basically mowing, weed control, and bush and bed service. And those are the 3 pain points for most customers, especially like HOA communities. Like I think the fertilization and weed control is an easy upsell. You can make 40% profits on it. 40, which is like triple, sometimes quadruple what you can mowing.
Yeah.
Easy upsell. All of our customers' properties look fantastic. People want to sign up with military lawn cuts because our lawns look the best. Like, and it's year round. We do treatments and we do a winterizer, we do a fall pre-emergent, we do a winter pre-emergent, and we do a spring pre-emergent. So our applicator is working year round as long as it's not frozen outside. I
Mhm.
think it's a great, great opportunity if you wanted to take it to the next level and separate yourself from the majority of people that can just use a residential mower and charge 20 bucks. Like
Mhm.
getting that license and certification, it levels you up to be not just the average person, you know, you become a professional. You're licensed, you can educate the customer. What I would recommend to get knowledge once you do get licensed
Mhm.
with the state is you should reach out to a local weed control company. They're
Okay.
try to befriend them before. Just say, hey, I'm looking at getting my license. I'm wondering if you can help. Anybody who's
Okay.
somewhat like willing to help, and maybe two or three of them aren't, but you'll find somebody there. You just reach out to them. Hey, I saw one of your trucks. Is the owner available? And like reach out to them and say, hey, very humbly, I'm learning. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get my license. I was just want to see if you could help a little bit, steer me in the right
Okay.
direction, and
Mhm.
try to find somebody that's in the field doing it. That way they can help you with a program, the timing. There's a lot that goes into it. Trying to figure it out on your own is going to be a long journey. So just try
Yeah.
to find somebody that's doing it successfully. Also, if you have a Ewing or a Site One around you, those are
Yes, we
like
do.
chemical specialists. Go to those branches and say, who is the chemical specialist here? The head person. That's who you want to talk to, and you want to say, hey, I'm getting licensed soon. I need you to help me come up with a program. I want a
Okay.
program of like what months I need to put what down, right? And
Mhm.
they'll help you build that out so that way, and which products to use on what type of turf grasses. So that way you're not just blindly doing it and potentially messing up a lawn. Because it could be
Okay.
very expensive if you use the wrong fertilizer.
Yeah.
Get $4,000
So do you think that's a good idea just to like for like the first year probably just keep 5 or 6 customers that I could just run out on a Saturday with how busy we are, just to get some experience, and then potentially the following year, while getting experience, probably just running like a flow zone backpack, getting a big spray tank.
Yeah, so you're not going to want to get a spray tank until you have like 250 customers,
Hmm.
like maybe
Okay.
200 customers. You can do granular applications with a push spreader. That's how you get
Okay.
it with the low barrier to entry. It's like 400
Okay.
bucks from Site One or Ewing for a spreader.
Okay.
And then yeah, the majority of that, like the major application when you do a pre-emergent or a fertilizer will be a granular 50-pound bag. You pour it in the spreader, spread it, and then yeah, you would have a backpack just to spray some weeds.
Okay. So you think that would be a good idea just to 5 or 6 customers just for one year? And then the second year, mowing will definitely grow again. So I'll probably need at least 3 trucks, and then probably just having one dedicated spring the following year whenever I jump into it. Is that how you would probably
Yeah,
build that out?
yeah. So you'll have initially a truck that's kind of a hybrid that you'll run
Hmm.
the spreader on and a mower
Oh, okay.
until you can really like have that one truck spraying all day. I
Okay.
wouldn't stop at 5 or 6 customers.
Okay.
Once you get with that chemical specialist and you feel confident in the program and like he's like, no, like this is the timing that needs to go down. And then keep his phone number. Just call him. Hey, I'm thinking about starting my fertilizers now. Is now a good time? Springtime, the daytime temperatures are getting above like 65, 70 degrees. Is now the right time?
Mhm.
And just call him throughout the program. That's what I literally do with our chemical guy because it's really based on weather. It's not based on a
Yeah.
set date. And so you gotta kind of learn that stuff. But dude, I wouldn't stop at 5 or 6 customers. I would
Just
say
keep it
I
going.
say, yeah, heck yeah, dude. Like let's grow this thing and we will learn as we go. And you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna mess up and you're gonna spray weeds and you're gonna leave yellow spots in the lawns and the customer's gonna say, well, you burned my grass. And then you're gonna tell them to just keep watering regularly for the next couple weeks. It should recover and call me in a
I
month.
gotcha. So you wouldn't even mess with doing like a little trial period or anything. Just go at it.
I would, man. I would get your license. You get with hopefully somebody local. I was
Uh-huh.
grateful enough to have a mentor actually come over to me when I was mowing lawns, and he was like, "Yeah, I ran a golf course for X amount of years," and he helped me like build out a program and everything, and I was super grateful. He helped me when he didn't have to, and so I don't know what. Do you know what type of turf grass you have down in your section?
It's Yeah, it's the transition. So we have a lot of new construction houses are putting Bermuda grass down.
Okay.
The problem is they're putting it on freaking rocks and trash and stuff. So, and a lot of people don't even water their lawn. So it doesn't even grow really. So, but a lot of Bermuda, got some zoysia, and then you got some lawns out there with fescue. It's a mix. It's primarily warm season grasses. But when you get into some of those neighborhoods with mature trees and stuff, that's where you see a lot more fescue ones.
So I have an applicators course that covers
Mhm,
Bermuda, Zoysia, and St.
mhm.
Augustine.
And
So
centipede. There's a lot of centipede around here too.
got it. Okay, so I'm not 100% familiar with centipede and I'm not 100% familiar with fescue. So those
Mhm.
two you would have to probably get with them on that.
Uh,
But yeah, the like I have an applicators course basically goes through all like the basic, just like the applications and all that stuff. It's got like our SOPs, like literally of how to spray a lawn, how to push spread a lawn. Some of it goes a little deep, but for anybody that's like wanting to get into that type of field, but
mhm.
it's really good. Like it's you can make a lot of money in the fertilization weed control. It's such an easy upsell, such an easy upsell. And yeah, I think that's awesome. I think you'll do well.
Yeah. I had to turn so much of that work away. I'm like, I just got to get my license in this. Like, I've sprayed houses. How much different is a yard? Maybe how would you do like quality control? Because I'll be running the P for P system.
So you're gonna definitely want to check your emails
Hmm.
as or calls, right? If somebody calls and says, "Hey, so and so missed something on the property," what you'll
Hmm.
want to do at your office or shop is have a physical piece of paper that you can like write down customer's name, what the complaint was, address, all that stuff. So that way during like hopefully you do team meetings on Mondays,
Hmm.
or Fridays, whatever, they can read their yellow slip to the entire team and be like, "Hey, I left the gate open on this one. I know I need to shut it, whatever." But basically, in CoPilot, what you'll want to do is create like a meeting named yellow slip. And anytime there is a yellow slip that comes down the pipe, you need to put that on their route for the next day. And there's going to be zero budget hours. So they're not going to get paid for it. They already got paid for it on the first visit. And it's going to say, didn't customer said you didn't weed eat behind the AC unit. Got to go back, talk to them, repair the relationship and fix it. And so that's basically like how you're going to structure that. Or that's how we structure it. What we failed to do for our first couple of years is like we would let employees get like 5 or 6 yellow slip a week, which is
Oh.
unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Hmm.
But we let it happen. And we weren't like that big, we were just kind of learning the process and we lost so many customers out of our back door of like them just canceling because of poor quality. So many. We've really
Wow.
tightened it up a lot this year. And so if they get one or less slips a week, they're in the clear. And I mean, out of 50, because like an average person can do about 50 people in 1 week, they shouldn't get anything more than one slip a week.
What happens if they do? Like, what is like the ramifications of that? Or is that like you're going back through training or something? Or
I do like self-reflect. I'm like, hang on, like it's probably us, right? Extreme ownership. I step in as a leader and I say, you know what, it's probably my fault. I didn't teach him the importance of shutting the gate and how their dog can get out and literally run in the road and get hit by a vehicle. Like how would you feel if that was your dog?
yeah,
And
not
like
good.
like trying to put them in their shoes of the homeowner. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. It's a big deal. It's not as something as, oh, I just left the gate open. It's like, no, dude, this is their livelihood. This is their home and we have to treat it accordingly. So a lot of times I'll just take ownership of it and say, you know, it's probably my fault. I didn't explain the importance of this part. And then after that, if they get another one or two of them, either I'll pull them aside and just say, hey, look, we got to tighten this up. Like if I have to have this conversation again, then, we already went over this. I retrained you on it. But next time I have
Hmm.
to have this conversation, we're going to put it on paper. It's like, I don't want
Hmm.
to do that, but it is what it is. And then after that, we put it on paper. We've done things like deduct money from their paychecks for their performance bonuses. Like, because
Okay.
it's like if they keep getting the same slip over and over again, like it takes admin time of you having to
Hmm.
email back and forth with the customer, fill out the L slip, assign a new meeting for them. It's like all this takes time and money. So like it's gonna take me about 30 minutes to handle this slip. 10 minutes for me to email back and forth a few times, another 5 minutes for me to fill the slip out. So like, and then so we're gonna take out $20 every time you get a slip for the next 2 months or 3 months. Every time you get a slip for this one thing, or really sometimes we'll do for any slip because just negative $20 off of their performance dollars, and they don't like that. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, man. You had some really good questions. I think it's gonna
Yeah, I
help
appreciate it.
a lot of great people. So.
Oh yeah, so that's the plan, and I'll definitely be taking a look at the applicators course too.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good, man. Well, let me know if you have any questions. Super active in the like YouTube comments and stuff. And
Mhm.
then we always do a live thing on the second Saturday of the month.